Hello students, welcome to biology online lesson, and Mr. Oyaro going to take you through about 15 minutes. We're going to discuss on coordination in plants. In our previous lesson we said that coordination in plants is majorly done or happens through a group of hormones, and one of the types of the hormones that are responsible are the auxins. So in this section, we are going to discuss about the role of auxins in bringing about what we call growth movements in plants, in one word, tropisms. So what are auxins? Auxins are a group of growth hormones that are produced at the apical meristems. Remember, in Form 3, we said that the apical meristems are specific types of specialized cells for cell divisions that are located at the tips, as the word goes, that is at the tips of the shoot and the root. So one of the most or the commonest auxins that we pay our focus onto is IAA, which in short is indole-acetic acid. Indole-acetic acid stimulates growth both in shoots and roots at the region of cell elongation. That is the region where we expect the cells to expand much faster, and therefore leading to increase in the length, or alternatively you can say increase in height of the plant. However, roots are more sensitive to auxins compared to shoots, and therefore they require smaller amount of concentrations of auxins to stimulate growth if you compare them with the shoot. So in short, what we see here that the higher the concentration of auxins in the root tips, the lower the rate of cell elongation, and therefore the lower the rate of growth. Whereas the higher the concentration of auxins in the shoot tip, but remember to a point, to a certain point, not just continue to increase the concentration of auxins on and on. So it has a maximum upon which any further increase brings about inhibition in growth. So what are the auxins and how are they affecting growth in plants? So one way in which they affect growth in plants is bring about tropisms, which, as I said, as I was introducing, is that tropism means growth movement or growth curvature, which is the specific type of growth that we see in most plants. So one area is that we are going to identify the auxin, and then we identify the stimulus that affect or affect the distribution of auxins. So one of the stimulus that we mentioned, number one, is light. So if we have response in plants with respect to light, we say phototropism. So the first point we are going to focus on is auxins and phototropism. Actually, the word photo means light, tropism means turning, and therefore, in one word, phototropism simply means turning with response to changes in direction of light. So that means that a particular plant will always grow with respect to the direction of light. And that's why in most indoor plants, you realize that they always grow towards the direction of the window where they receive sufficient amount of light, of course, for purposes of promoting the process of photosynthesis. Under uniform light distribution, auxins produced by the shoots are translocated. Sometimes this word translocated, we can use the corresponding word, which is efflux, or they move towards, or they migrate. Under uniform light distribution, auxins produced by the shoots are translocated evenly, and you note the word evenly, down the shoot. Therefore, there is equal growth rate in height of the shoot. I believe you've been wondering why some plants usually grow taller and taller, upwards and sometimes perpendicular. Such plants, majorly, they usually receive light from all angles or light from all directions, meaning that light in that case is non-directional. So if light is coming from all over, we expect uniform distribution of light, that is from the shoot where they are produced all the way to the stem region, downwards, and then they reach the roots where they effect or where they bring their effect. So in this diagram here, the arrows here points to the direction of light. And in this case, light is coming from all over. Maybe I may add some more arrows pointing that light is coming from all over. And at the tips here, we have a higher concentration of auxins. So what will be the effect of light on the migration or the movement of auxins? We expect these auxins to move downwards uniformly, and therefore they get distributed, and at a point wherever they get distributed, wherever they get concentrated, we expect them to influence or to exert their effect. In this case, for the shoot tip will continue growing up. It will continue growing up as the concentration of auxins continue increasing. So in this case, we realize that light has an effect to the movement of auxins. So for the shoot tip, it is likely to grow towards the direction of light. Such a response, we call it positive tropic response. Positive tropic response. And since it is response with regard to light being the stimulus, therefore we call it we say that the shoots are positively phototropic. Positively phototropic. But for the roots, since the roots are growing away from the direction of light, they are referred to as negatively phototropic. Therefore, the shoots positively phototropic, the roots negatively phototropic. Now, this one is an example whereby we have light coming from not one, but none direction, that is uniformly distributed. So in this other case, we are discussing about what will happen if you change the direction from which light is coming from. Now, on the other side, we had seen when light is coming from a particular direction. Now, in this case, from a non-directional source of light, that is, in this case, light is coming from a particular point or specific point. Such a light, we call it unilateral light. So, in the diagram that I've just drawn here, the light is coming from the left part of my hand or my left hand side, and at the tip there, that's where we see the concentration of auxins being high. So what will be the effect of this light that is striking on this side to the concentration of auxins, and the net effect on the rate or on the net or on the direction at which the plant shoot will be growing. So after a period of time, we expect the auxin concentration to diffuse, the auxins to diffuse away from the source of the stimulus. Remember, higher light intensity is likely to destroy the chemical nature of the auxins, because all, as we know, hormones are chemical in nature. So therefore, they are only active at certain light rays or intensity. So in this case, the auxin concentration will be higher on the unlit part, or the darker side. So if the concentration of auxins is higher on this side, then it actually means that the cells located on this area will actually expand faster, will actually elongate faster compared to the cells that are exposed in areas with low auxin concentration. Remember, we said that the higher the auxin concentration in the shoot tip, the higher the rate of cell elongation. So for that matter, we expect this area here, the cells in this region, to elongate much faster, and therefore at the end of it, the curvature or the bending will be towards the source of light, as it can be observed at the end of the experiment. So, having mentioned about light and its effect onto the auxins, how important is this response to plants? Now remember, when you look at the importance, we look at the survival value for the plant. So during phototropism, because of change in curvature, such parts of the plants, for example, the leaves, will be exposed to sunlight and therefore enabling the process of photosynthesis to take place. That's why in most cases, if we grow plants in areas where they do not receive sufficient amount of light, their leaves become yellow, their stems become very weak, slender and weak, and they are easy to collapse. They are easy to collapse. They cannot support themselves because they do not manufacture enough food, and therefore many processes not continue as expected. And for the flowers, this is a way of exposing the flowers for the process of pollination to occur. So this, as we have said, we've said that the auxins are very important for the survival of the plants. And therefore, we must always be able to look at what is the effect of increasing the concentration of the auxins in the shoot tip, and what is the effect of increasing the concentration of auxins in the root tip. Just as a reminder, if light is coming from a particular direction, we expect to observe what we call a growth curvature or the growth bending. And the bending will always be observed towards the direction from which light is sufficiently coming into the plant. So I will stop at that, and I believe that we shall be having more interaction through this online platform. Please, we will post our assignments later in the website that we shall avoid. So thank you for listening, and I hope to have a class with you in a short while again. Thank you.